Hi, my name is Megan. I'll be your counselor today.
Hi, my name is Kesha.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So before we get started, I know that you already signed your consent form,
Yep.
right? Okay, so you're consenting to us doing our therapy session today, and you're okay with us talking about the incident that happened and finding a solution to try to help you get through it. I also wanted to mention I'm Mandy, the reporter, so everything in here is confidential, but if you disclose wanting to harm yourself or others, I do have to report that, okay?
Okay.
So I did want to start off this session by saying that just laying out with what the therapy session is about. So it'll be about us talking about your situation, identifying what you see as the problems with the situation, and some goals that you want to create for those. And then we'll talk about your feelings about those goals, your thoughts about them, and then I'll have you rank your goals. And then I'll have you probably pick 3 to 4 goals, and I'll have you rank them. If you pick 3, 1 to 3. If you pick 4, 1 to 4. 1 being that doesn't bother you at all. Well, it just bothers you a little bit or not at all. And 3 or 4 being that it bothers you a lot. And then we'll work on 1 towards the middle, and then 1 towards the easier one, and then 1 towards the bottom that's harder for you. And then we'll close the session by trying to change your thoughts about the negative feelings that you're having, and then I'll give you a takeaway activity.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. So can you start off by telling me a little bit about the situation that happened so I can get a better idea?
Yeah, so the situation happened a while ago. Not that long ago, but it was a while back. I was home alone waiting for my husband to come home, and I was listening to some music really loud. That's what I typically do, when I'm by myself. I like to be in the zone when I'm cleaning and listen to music. And I live in an apartment complex where my neighbor does live below me and next to me. But they typically understand and know that I listen to music loud. We got a new neighbor next door to us, and he seemed alright. Haven't really talked to him since he's been there. But on that night, I listened to music, and he came over and he asked me to turn down my music, and I said, "Yeah, no problem, I'll do it." But I was in the mood just cleaning, so I was continuing back to cleaning to mind my business, and probably about 20 minutes later, I knocked on the door again. I thought it was my husband, and I opened it, and it was my neighbor again, and that's when things started to happen.
Can you tell me what happened after that?
He started yelling at me, saying, I need to turn down the music, disrespectful. But it was during the day, and he could have been a person who works third shift. I could have woken up from his nap, but just listening to music. But he came in yelling at me. He came into my apartment, and he forced his way onto me, and yeah, it happened.
Okay, well, I'm really sorry that happened to you. How are you feeling about it now?
There's some things. You don't just get over of an incident like that so simply. It's not like a night and day type thing. It takes time to get over what happened. And there's moments where things trigger me from the past, but for the most part, I'm okay. I'm just going to work every day.
Okay. Would you mind if we set some goals about it to try to help you kind of move forward a little bit and trying to deal with different parts of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've identified, I've identified some type of feelings that I feel like you've kind of mentioned. But I think it would be helpful if you kind of mentioned some of them for me as well, just to make sure I'm on the right track. What are some feelings that you've been feeling?
Well, I've had a lot of depression lately.
Okay.
PTSD, because those two kind of go hand in hand sometimes, but the PTSD is really big for me because things can trigger my mind of what happened.
Okay.
Loud music and things like that.
Okay. Are there any other things that you've been dealing with?
Yeah, I haven't really been eating the right way like I typically would. I'm really, you know, a health conscious person, and I just haven't been really eating all that great lately. So like that may be to develop an eating disorder as well.
Are you trying to gain weight or are you trying to lose weight?
Well, I was trying to maintain, but that with PTSD and depression mixed together, and me not eating right, I've gained probably about 100 pounds since that happened. It's
Okay.
only been about a month, so you can do the math. I've ate a lot. I just keep eating.
Okay. So when you talked about 3 different things that we could make goals for.
Mm-hmm.
The first one you talked about I wrote them down here for you, were your guilty feelings, or your PTSD feelings, I'm sorry, your depression feelings, and your eating problems. Now, if you were to rank these 1 to 3, how would you rank them? 1 being
The most important one.
1 being not important and 3 being the most important.
I
I shouldn't say most important. I should say 1 being not very hard to deal with and 3 being the hardest to deal with.
I think the eating disorder should be number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, probably my PTSD, and my 3 is gonna be depression. You
Okay.
know, I've done a lot of things while I'm depressed. Like I shaved my head. I had long, nice hair, but I just shaved it off.
Okay.
I couldn't do it no more. Small things that irritated me.
Okay.
I was gonna be by myself some days, and I was by myself, and I just shaved my head off one day.
So we can talk
just
about
hair.
number 2. Just because we can focus on number 2 because if you change your thoughts, then you can kind of change your actions about things. So number 2 being the depression and the PTSD, we can talk about different things about that. Is there any certain feelings that you're having about that you want to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I deserve being attacked like that. Well, not in that sense of, of what happened, my sexual abuse, but like, there's always that thought back in my head, maybe I did deserve that because I didn't listen to what he asked me to do nicely the first time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's easy to think that way, but you need to change that thinking into thinking that it's not anything that you did to deserve that. It's all what he did, and those types of thoughts are something that are called stuck points.
Yeah. So I like comic books, okay, and things like that. And do you know who Doctor Strange is?
Mm-hmm.
He thinks of things multiple ways and that was one thing I keep thinking of. That maybe I did deserve it. Out of all the thoughts I had.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that you didn't deserve it, and you changing your thought into thinking thoughts like, I didn't deserve this, and I didn't deserve him coming into my home. It's a safe place for me.
Yeah.
Will help change your thinking into positive thoughts.
Yeah.
So one thing that to get past that stuck point that we can do, and also to change your thoughts, is we can do a journal activity. This is your takeaway activity for the session. You can journal different thoughts that you're having throughout the day, and you can write down different ways that thoughts that you can change them by.
Okay.
So say your thought about I did something to deserve this, write down a thought that a positive thought towards that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So do that activity for a little bit and see how that helps. So we talked about this goal this time, and we can finish this goal out next time since we didn't have quite enough time to finish talking about it. And then we can talk about the other goals from the next sessions. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice day.
You too.